to order. This is the workshop meeting of the Dade County Board of Commissioners, and meeting here the day before the Independence Day. So go ahead and get this meeting underway. Well, I'll call now for the approval of the agenda. Are there any amendments or changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, it will stand approved as presented. Add that to the consent agenda. Next, we have approval of the previous meeting minutes. These are minutes from various boards, our board, commission, TDAC, whatever, public hearings we've had. Those were sent out in advance. Any changes or corrections?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, add that to consent agenda. Approval of the review of the personnel status report. If I don't say that correctly, I get in trouble with my South Dade constituent. Any questions about the personnel status report? Hearing none, we'll add that to the consent agenda. Board appointments. We have under tab 4 a resolution R-27-25. This is a resolution to appoint a member back to the Dade County Historic Preservation Commission. It's the Trenton-Dade County Historic Preservation Commission. Mr. Rex Blevins for a 3-year term, commencing actually today through June 30th, 2028. He's been serving, this will probably be his second or third term on that board. Any questions or concerns there?
No.
Okay, we'll add that to consent agenda for approval. Now I ask Mr. Tommy Bradford, Chief Deputy, to come forward, Major of the, I started to say State Patrol, but I guess
No.
he's higher than that. He's in the Dade County Sheriff's Office, to make a presentation for SPLOST Capital Equipment.
Howdy.
Danny?
Howdy.
So I've been telling you about coming for the vehicles, so I'd like to replace 3 vehicles. I've got vehicle number 124 that's got 218,000, vehicle 131 that's got 226,000, and vehicle 132 that's got 225,000 miles on them. Insurance locks them off the road about 160 for us, so we're a little bit over on those. So I sent out 3 bids, Prater Ford, Mountain View Ford, and Brandon Ford. Received 1 bid back, and it was Prater for $44,598. The warranty with that is a 5-year, $100,000, and that's just a powertrain. That's not everything, so that just extends the powertrain part of it, the more expensive stuff. And with that added, the price would be $46,723. And then the equipment came to a total, which is the camera system with the body cam, striping, the emergency equipment that goes on it, a radar, the radio, and the laptop. All that came to $39,540, which brought it to $86,263.61 a piece. For all 3, it would be $258,790.83.
Okay.
And they are on the lot already, so.
Oh, good.
So we won't have to wait on, now the equipment, probably have to wait on it, but cars they're on the lot, so.
So these are 2025 Ford
Yes.
Explorers. They're just about ready to cut that model off, and they may have already done that. I don't know. 26s will come out soon, I
I
presume.
think the next one's in, or 26s, and he wasn't gonna promise the price on it, cause he didn't really know yet, so. He set 3 aside for me that was on the lot that were the same as last year's price.
Okay. And, any questions?
Where we at on our splosh? Do we know?
What do you want to know? Like,
6 million. So if we go over the amount that we said in the beginning, we don't have to, we don't cut it off, we can continue. Okay, so they did change that? Okay.
Yeah, we still, and even with, I mean, we have various things listed on our SPOSS for outstanding items.
Right.
Like the 3 fire pumpers, OLG engineering, which was that HVAC replacement design work.
Right.
Various concession stand, the soccer. Storage building. GT distributors, which we need to talk to you about that. It's 29 rifles. Y'all may have already paid that. We might have missed that.
I think that should have, well, we hadn't got them yet. They should be shipping here
Okay,
within
yeah.
the next week.
Some parts are.
We've got some of the parts that goes to the rifles. We just have not got, because we had to do some stuff through the ATF.
Yeah.
It's not correct. So we had to change our put a physical address instead of a PO box on that. So that was a holdup for the rifles. So, but they should ship probably, I was told they'd be here last week. So I would say definitely sometime by next week for the next, they should be here.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, when we set aside money, of course, in the budget for the elections building, that TAC distributor that we've already authorized, the cameras down at the transfer station, code enforcement vehicle, mobile assessor equipment that we talked about back in May. And of course, the water authority and the IDA have unused portion of monies. The fire departments have unused portion of monies. And so that still left 1.872 million after the anticipated $6 million that's yet to come in. So, I mean, we've got the money in the bank and the accounting side of it. So, any other questions? This is something just for the public to know that Tommy brings these, a request for new vehicles every year about the June meeting, July meeting. And sometimes it takes a few months to get them. These happened to be on the lot a couple of years ago. They requested this, and it was almost a year before we got the vehicles during COVID, but that was that. And the reason we do that is to keep the fleet up and running. And insurance, what's the insurance, 160?
160,000.
160,000 is only pursuit-rated vehicles, meaning we start losing insurance coverage if it gets over 160,000. Just the way it is. I mean, that's insurance anywhere, and for the type of work they do. So he usually asks between 2 to 4 cars, and it's 3 this time. So that's what we're doing. All right. I'm good with it if you are good with it. So we will add it to the consent agenda then. Thank you, Tom.
Question, real quick. The equipment that comes off the old cars, where does it go to?
So some of the stuff is outdated.
Okay.
So we can't, I mean, if we put it in there, we're gonna start repairing stuff.
Okay.
And we've tried that in the past with the cameras. They don't hold up.
Okay.
So we end up having to buy another one anyway, so we just quit trying to do that. Some of the radios, we should start getting into shape where we can start hanging on to the radios.
Right.
Once we get through this, I think we got 3 or 4 more and then I know these are 3 of them right here that has the old radios. So once we get those transferred over, I'll have to do a count, because Alex asked me to do it, and see where we're at on that. After that, we should be able to at least keep the radios going, because they're pretty durable. So stuff like that. And then radars, once we get those kind of replenished, because we found a wind radar, those will last pretty decent. So I don't think we would need to continue on that. I've just got them added in right now just because it helps me keep up with the age on them.
I got you. Okay.
So we don't get back into that predicament as far as how old are they.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
We've added that to the consent agenda, so thank you very much. We'll ask Heather Rosner to come up with Bridge Health. She has a presentation to make.
Good evening.
hot mic.
My name is Heather Rosner, and I serve as the Chief Executive Officer of Bridge Health, formerly Lookout Mountain Community Services Agency. Some of you might have recognized that name. I was appointed as CEO in 2021, and since we have rebranded and we've established a 501c3 nonprofit. I do have slides. I don't know, is that PowerPoint? I don't know if y'all want to look at that or not, but there it is. I don't know if I could click through, but,
He can do it for you.
there you go, you got it.
He got it, you got it.
Just raise your hand and he'll
Yeah,
click.
you can click the next one, and so I just really wanted, I know you all have met me before, I just wanted to re-educate, because it is kind of confusing as to who we are and what we do. I initially said, asked Commissioner Townsend for some of your opioid dollars, and I just wanted to educate you again as to who we are and why we're asking for those. We are created in legislation, basically as a quasi-state employee. So we are not considered for-profit. We're also not considered nonprofit. So that's why we created the nonprofit, so we can fundraise to help assist the agency. But there are 22 CSBs, you can click the next slide, across the state. So every county has a community service board. We are your community service board that is there to be the safety net for those without insurance, or who struggle with addictive disease, developmental disabilities, or severe persistent mental illness. And as a part of that safety net, we're required to do certain things. We're also required, you can go to the next slide, this is our clinic here in Trenton. Unfortunately, this month we're going to be closing one day a week. We're going to be open every day except for the weekend, and we'll be closing on Thursdays. And I'll be talking about that here in a little bit. But this is our clinic here in this town. Next slide, please. So basically, we go on a fiscal year from July to July. Last year we served 286 individuals. We're in every single school in Dade County through our APEX program. I think I spoke to you all in the past about funding some of the private insurance kids. I think DBHDD wound up covering that cost for us, but we are no longer serving those children because back to the legal code, we're here to provide certain services, and APEX unfortunately does not serve kids with private insurance. Next slide. So the regions that we're funded through the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, DBHDD. Some of you may have heard of them before. And it's broken out into 6 regions. And Region 1 is the region that we are in. They did a study about opioids when all this litigation went out, and they have some reports that I can send you all if you'd like. I have a copy of the reports. But on the next slide, it talks to you about Region 1 and where we struggle. Next slide. So over a 5-year period from 2018 to 2022, Region 1 had the highest opioid overdose death rates across all regions. And from 2018 to 2022, did I break something?
No, it's mine, I think.
There were significant growth attributed to synthetic opioids, for example, fentanyl. From 2018 to 2022, synthetic opioids, including fentanyl, trended as the leading cause of opioid overdose deaths amongst the population in Region 1. And you would wonder, what's the demographic of these individuals? And it's typically men that are white that die of opioids in Region 1. All right, next slide. So this shows you a little bit about the map of overdose deaths and behavioral health and social service providers. So you can see Dade County's in the red. Dade County was actually mentioned in this report under key findings number 2, that in these counties, the opioid overdose death rates are above the regional average. And the number of social service providers that you have are below the regional average. So you have a lot of deaths and not a lot of help, basically is what that's showing. Next slide. So our ask, how can you help? There's different things. We've been tossing out ideas, supporting us, whether through our rent, maybe in-kind space. We need some upgraded medical equipment. We can weigh people that are at 300 pounds, and if they're not 300 pounds, we have to add a little thing on there. So we're just trying to come up with things that the county could help us with. Narcan is about $30 a box, and we pass it out at the clinic to people so they can have it. What Narcan does, or naloxone, it brings someone back who's maybe starting to pass out with opioids, not be able to breathe. And the reason you want two, you dose them once, and then you dose them again if that doesn't work. So the box, you really want to have 2 doses in one box. Another thing is housing and transportation. We see a high number of people who can't make it to treatment. And so one thing that we did with Catoosa County is that they are using some of their funds to help. We're the driver, and we drive them to drug courts. We are now providing the treatment for the Lookout Mountain Judicial Accountability Court, drug court, and we're picking up mental health court this month. So we'll provide the treatment. I think we have had a few people from Dade County, residents of Dade County, come to drug court. It is difficult because it's all the way in Lafayette, and we understand that. So that's an idea. We could, if you all came up with if we came up with a dollar amount we could agree upon, we would have pickup points from here, and we would drive the participants to court and back. That is something that we've done. Another thing we're doing in Catoosa County is a jail in-reach counselor. Our counselor this past year provided 285 hours in the jail, and what that does is they're wearing their Bridge Health information, so they're gonna know I'm Bridge Health, so when I get out, they're gonna know to come back to the clinic to get services, since we're kind of the safety net to work with them. If they see another provider in the jail, then when they get out, they may not always come to their community provider who can give preventative treatment. We have psychiatrists, licensed counselors, we have nurses, licensed therapists, we provide substance abuse group, we provide intensive outpatient in some programs, and we have case management. We have wraparound services for people who need supported employment, supported education programs. So there's a lot of programs we provide, and I know we don't have all the time right now, but I do have the website on there that you could look up and learn. And I think that's one thing that I wanted to do as a CEO, is just educate people as to who we are. And that's another reason I wanted to rebrand, because people thought we were on Lookout Mountain, you know. And we've got 4 counties that we serve. So it's just education as to who we are, and that we're here, and we're here to be a safety net for your folks, and also making sure that these people are getting treatment. And we are seeing somewhat of a decline in deaths, but I think a lot of that is the Narcan and naloxone that people are utilizing. But the reality is the treatment still needs to happen. People need to get treatment before we get too far gone. And unfortunately, that's a problem. That's why the APEX programs are so important, to educate kids when they're in the schools and do prevention. One thing we learn in Dade, people struggle because they have to go to Chattanooga to get help. And that Chattanooga is not anywhere anybody wants to go right now with the traffic and the way 27 is. And so those with private insurance really struggle. But, and we are concerned also with Medicaid funding cutting. Don't know how it's going to affect us with the big beautiful bill that was signed off on. And so that will probably impact some of these folks as well. It may affect us as a community health provider. So I appreciate your time, and just again wanted to ask.
Heather, how many frequent flyers do you have? Here's my take on it, and I've dealt with this in the military. You get somebody that has a problem, you run them through a program, right? Right? And many times they get clean and they stay straight.
Yeah.
But if they don't, we boot their butts out and have a nice day. I appreciate what you're doing, right? But these guys that just go out there and screw up, right? And you come in there and treat them, and you spend money and effort and time and energy on them, and then 2 months later they're back again. I don't care. I'm not going to beat around the bush about it, right? If somebody really doesn't want to help themselves, right, and you've given them everything you've got, then let them go, right? Don't spend. You've got limited. You're the CEO, not me. But you know, I'm at a point in my life where I'm going to say what's on my mind, and I'm not going to beat around the bush, right? If they don't want to improve, right, let them do your little program one time, then kick them out the damn door, right? Because you don't need to be spending money, and I know you get them, right? I know you get them, right?
What's interesting is the frequent flyers are typically the mental health patients. We don't rarely have frequent flyers that are addiction
Well, that's good
clients,
then.
because
If that's the
typically
case, then that's different.
They may just not want to do it, like you said. You
Yeah,
know,
well,
they have to be invested.
And if they're mental health, that's a different
Yeah,
lane.
we do have a lot of frequent flyers.
And I understand that, but for the druggies or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Call it a day, you know?
yeah. I appreciate the thoughts and the feedback, I do.
Is the death rate because of not using Narcan, or is it because that they're on some of these other things that are not responsive to Narcan?
Well, the availability of Narcan hasn't been out there to everybody, and then also there are some drugs that Narcan doesn't work on. But if we can get it into the hands of people who need it, into every home, just in case. My husband had surgery, he's had both hips replaced, and I got some just in case because they had him on a lot of opioids, plus he had other co-occurring illnesses, and I said, I just want to have it at home just in case, because you can accidentally overdose yourself, and so just getting it into the hands of people is really helpful.
Yeah, and I'd say that's probably hard here with it being so rural and,
It is.
yeah.
And we've worked very closely with law enforcement, and we really appreciate them. And sometimes we don't have enough services. And what I've tried to do is request a crisis stabilization unit for our 4-county area. We don't even have an emergency receiving facility. We have a private ER hospital, and that is not enough. We're having to go to Tennessee to get help, and that's not enough. And so I've been working with the Department of Behavioral Health to get them to understand we need to open a crisis stabilization unit here, you know, in our 4-county area, so law enforcement aren't having to drive all the way to Rome with a 1013 order where somebody's been committed against their own will, and they have to drive them down there to get them hospitalized. And then wait, and that's all your law enforcement time tied up. That's why our co-responder team has worked. We started a co-responder team in Catoosa County where we go along in the vehicle with law enforcement, and we go out and say, now Sally, you haven't been in for your injection. You know, we know her, and then we can avoid the recidivism rate of her going back into jail because we know her. She's a frequent flyer who just hasn't been on their medication for whatever reason, couldn't get there, or just no-showed or whatever. And that has helped some. And that I did talk to Sheriff Cross for a little bit, you know, to talk about it. But with the funding cuts at the federal level, the county's gonna have to subsidize it in Catoosa County if it's gonna continue. And I know Catoosa County has more money. I mean, I know that. But I would love for us to be able to, and we're writing some grants to try to get it. And if we can get it, that would be great. I think it could help the county, you know, people that we already know. So law enforcement's not having to go out. We had a case where an autistic youth had a gun in his mouth, and we were able to go out with law enforcement, get the gun out of his mouth, and get him to calm down. And going in plain clothes is sometimes a little less scary than somebody who, they're trained to go in guns a-blazing. That's what they're trained to do. And you've got to have law enforcement, but there's times it's helpful to have somebody who can go out and talk somebody off a bridge who's a therapist or can interject at a different level.
Right.
But thank you very much, and I
Thank
wasn't
you.
at all nervous about standing in front of y'all. I don't know why.
No, you're fine.
You got any other?
No,
You're
no reason to be
supposed-
nervous.
I'm supposed to get used to this, I'm not.
No, you're fine. No
You did
reason to be
great.
nervous. Yep.
Yeah.
Is there anything on this list that we could help fund with the opioid money that we could put towards that?
It's a good question, because we're probably facing an audit. I just found out this week, something new. Do you know anything about that audit coming?
I would think that they're probably gonna audit any of the funds that are given to make sure they're given into treatment, prevention. It's gotta be in the guardrails of those
Right.
areas that they
Right.
put around the dollars.
I mean, we do an annual audit on our funds, but this is a different audit through,
Yeah.
and I don't know who it's through. I just heard it may be
Yeah.
coming through I know it's Department of Human Services. That's what I heard, DHS. And so, now, you know, I would imagine they're starting in Atlanta and coming out, but I have nothing to believe that they couldn't start in Dade County. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but, that is something to think about. We do have some funds, I don't know exactly how many, but, we keep them in a special fund. And we probably have spent very little of those. I think Joe used some a couple of years ago for Narcan. for our local jail. Speaking of those funds, though, there's also state funds. The state gets a whole lot more money than Dade County gets.
Yeah, we have requested those funds. In fact, I requested to build a behavioral health crisis unit, and it got tossed out. I was in the AJC because I was the top applicant, cost-wise.
Okay.
Because I was looking for a behavioral health crisis center for our four-county area, and they moved it from a statewide request to a regional request. The regional dollars are less than statewide. So this time I applied for transportation funding for the four counties. So if somebody needs to get to treatment, we've applied to hopefully get it to at least do transportation.
Right.
If it gets funded, that would be awesome, but right now, we're also going to the counties and the cities and just asking to support us, because the only way we can have access to it is to apply for it.
Do you look at it from a per capita standpoint, meaning the number of people in Catoosa is a whole lot more than the number of in Dade County? So, I mean, aligning that request to the Lookout Mountain Judicial Circuit, for instance.
Yes.
They know based,
Yes.
okay.
We looked at the number of people that come to us. We get a lot of people from Rising Fawn, Wildwood, Dade County, and so we're looking at the numbers.
Okay.
But I definitely am asking every county we serve
Okay.
to assist us. So,
If you could, I think your folks could take a look at it from the standpoint of the circuit request and see if all four counties participate. I have no problem looking into it. I think we
Yeah.
should probably participate at some level, but, I mean, we got to look at it also from a standpoint of what's fair to Dade County. I mean, if we give, 10,000, each county gave 10,000, and most of our money is being used in Catoosa County, because that's where the bigger problem is, because there's more people, then we need to,
our
take a
ask
look
would
at
be
that.
for Dade County. This money that I'm asking of you would be utilized in Dade County for Dade
Okay.
County residents.
All right. Specifically for just everything you talked about,
Any of
travel?
those
Any of
Yeah.
those items?
Any of those things that was on the list.
Okay.
So I would suggest just looking if we could use the opioid money on some of that.
No, I think that's
If we
exactly
could
what.
get it inside the guardrails and help out
Right.
that way, because that money's been sitting there.
Yeah,
And it's much needed, obviously, from the numbers, so,
People are dying,
yeah.
and it's really unfortunate. And I hate to say that we're closing one a day a week right now, because that's not what we need to do. But this money would be used for Dade County. And I don't think we've ever received any funds from Dade County since before my time to our agency.
okay. All right,
Thank you all.
thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Happy 4th of July.
Thank you.
Next thing is the elections building construction project. Alex is gonna be here, but he's had to step away, for an emergency out on the mountain, so he's not here. And, so basically what's happening is July 24th, the request for proposals will be coming in. If y'all are available that day, you're very welcome to come by, and, see our county clerk. She'll be opening those. We did have a construction meeting over in the old courthouse, and to review the plans. There were 11 different contractors that showed up. I was amazed by that, actually. We did, because of the anticipated price of this, we did have to put this on the Georgia Procurement website, which is the state website. And so I think that's probably what drew some of these people. A few were out of the Chattanooga location area. That makes kind of more sense than somebody coming all the way from Savannah. Because, I mean, and I'm not saying, I don't know if anybody came from Savannah or not, but it was from all over. So anyway, that's where it is. Those plans have been being reviewed by all these different contractors, and they'll be providing us, hopefully, their bid package back on July 24th. Is that a Thursday? Yeah, okay. All right. And what time? 2 o'clock? I think it's 2. I think it's 2 o'clock. We'll make sure. If it's not 2 o'clock, we'll tell you. We'll call you.
I'm pretty sure it's 2 and the other one's at 10.
Yeah, we've got a smaller one at 10. So anyway, okay, but that's it. You got any questions about that? Okay. Resolution, the next, number 8 is Resolution R-28-25. That is a resolution to pursue affordable housing development through GIC. And you probably say, what in the world is a GIC? That sounds like, what does that sound like? Did I bring that in here? Of course I didn't. GIC is
It's
a,
behind you.
oh,
It's the Georgia Institute for Community
oh
Housing.
yeah, got that. I had something else though on my desk, but anyway, so it is for the Georgia Affordable Housing Development, and basically, this is a group of people that we put together from the community, from real estate agents to civic groups to, just different agencies. I called Laura Beth Cunningham today and asked her if she would be willing to serve, and she agreed. And there's different teams in Georgia that would come over and help us do our assessment of the county. But ultimately, what it does is it allows the county to have a few extra points towards grant applications. It's just like when we became a certified local government, a CLG, that opened the door for several new grants for historic preservation. There's just some things you can't really open the door to or be invited to apply for until you jump through other hoops, and this is one of those kind of hoops. At this point, there's no dollar value as far as requirement, but it does, when you get this designation, you also you earn a few extra points towards a grant application, such as a community development block grant or whatever the grant may be. And the grants are so competitive now that it literally comes down to half points and 1 or 2 points deciding who the winners will be for state grants. So I recommend that we pass this, and if you've got any questions, I'll try and entertain those.
Is the intent of this to have a projects kind of place that people live, or?
No.
Help me out here, because right now, that's what I'm hearing.
No.
Okay, then what are we talking about here?
Well, it's for affordable housing, to help address affordable housing in the community, but not high-density housing. I don't think at this point we're ready, I don't think I'm ready to see any high-density housing. There are things called like LIHTC and then different, and they have all these acronyms in Georgia. And I do not have all those definitions of those, but LIHTC is one where you would have more high-density housing. This is that's not for that purpose.
And I just know that from my family back in Augusta, right? Where they lived in this environment, right? And it was not good, right? Bad things happen.
Oh, yeah.
And, okay,
No.
I just wanted
That
to.
is not what the.
Okay,
intent
then
is.
if that's not the intent, then by all means,
Yeah.
So is the money intended to go to a developer to help him reduce the cost of the project, or is it to go to us to help put in infrastructure to get a developer to build?
Say that one more time.
Is it to go, say if I wanted to build a 200 house project here, is it the money to help me subsidize my project
Yes.
to be able to build it, or is it to help the county put in infrastructure for the project?
Those are 2 different grants.
Yeah,
And that's not even what this is, but there are 2 different grants that do that. One is for infrastructure only. Robin knows about those through IDA, and again, we could apply for some of those, but without being GIC certified, and I know that's a crazy acronym, but without being that, our chances of getting those kind of grants are slim to none. I mean, it's just hard to get them approved. But the ones I would be interested in would be more for the infrastructure.
Okay, so we need to check this off so we can apply this, and that helps us get the grants we need.
yeah.
It doesn't,
Okay.
we're not getting any
What now?
money for this.
Right.
Money, it's not a grant.
No,
What you're saying.
right, no.
Yeah. Group.
That's what I'm saying, but we check it, I mean, this helps us get it.
Yes.
Okay, then I'm,
It
all
helps.
right, then I'm fully in
There are
support.
different ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, I
Now,
understand
there
better.
is a grant, there's actually a grant for both what you
This
just
is
talked
just
about.
Yeah.
joining the group to check one of the 30 boxes that you need to check to
Yes,
go after
it
the
is.
grant.
Okay,
That's all that
that-
is.
fully supported.
It's not like something like this Horton thing that was talked about
No.
at one time.
No, no.
All right.
We'll add that to consent agenda. Number 9 is the modifications to the code enforcement, code enforcement. Code of ordinance is what I meant to say. Modifications to chapter 14, which is our animals. And this is the amendment to the animal control ordinance to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other such purposes. Robin took the notes from last month, and put these into a format that we would need to require us to amend the ordinance. So it looks, you want to talk about, Robin, anything on this?
So, I don't think I made any changes to the, information that was passed out last, month. And so what I did is I took that though, because it needed to be in the format of the ordinance amendment, and that's what I did.
Right.
I did that. So, it's kind of tricky how you do all that, but nevertheless, that's what you got there. As far as the information on it goes, if there were any changes, minimal, just minimal. So, so what you got last month is what should be there in content form.
Right.
All right, so then this is just another reading of it?
This is this we consider the first reading. We didn't have one.
Now, is this when we bring up concerns we have?
Sure. Go
Okay.
ahead.
As I've made the rounds, just talking to people about animals and everything in general, right? The one on section 14-3, identification tags will be provided by the county upon presentation of a certificate of inoculation, blah, 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 blah. Well, let me tell you, the folks that I've spoken to think that's too much, and they're willing to go to Walmart, go to the little machine, say, this is Biscuit, it's owned by Bob Woods, and here's Bob Woods' phone number, and put that on the collar of their dog, right? They don't necessarily want to have to get permission, right, from the county to do this. Now, I'm not saying that, don't shoot the messenger here, right? I'm not saying that dogs shouldn't have rabies shots. No, I mean, my dogs do and everything's good, right? But the populace overall, right? You know, when they were concerned that we were gonna force certain things on them, I said, no, we're just saying the right thing to do is to have your dog identified, so if we find it, we know who to call. And they're all in favor of that. You know what I mean? But they just want to be able to go down to Petco or Walmart or someplace where you can get these little things made and go home and put it on their collar. You know, so I just want to give that feedback.
Well, comment to that.
Please.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
So I lived in Chattanooga, Hamilton County, for 7 years.
Okay.
You know me, I always have pets, so they have required that since, I don't even know, for you to have a tag. I never once got one. I was never stopped. I was never ticketed. So it's more of, it's more of a situation-based thing that just because it's required and in our ordinance, and there could be consequences of it, that doesn't mean that you have to act on it. There's not any police officer or anybody that's gonna be patrolling yards and looking for dogs that don't have the tag on, but if there was a problem.
No, I'm just here, it says ID tags will be provided by the county. I'm just saying I don't know if that's necessary.
Come to the microphone.
Come to the mic.
Okay, I've been doing this for 25 years, rescuing this county's dogs and cats, because we have no animal control in this county. And I have seen many, many things, and this is what I would like to ask. If the people are willing to go to Walmart and get them a tag, why have they not done it in all these years? Because they're not doing it. I'm picking these dogs up, I'm finding them everywhere. There's no way to identify them. And I think that Emily could address what she was saying here. Nobody is wanting to force everybody to put tags on their dogs. You can go to my house right now, and you know what? My dogs don't even have one from Walmart on them. It's just that if the dog is picked up numerous times, you talk to them, Emily.
Hi, everyone.
So the,
But again, why have they not done it yet?
I know, I'm just saying that
That's
that's
a good
the
point.
feedback versus the county, you know, giving the tags. I'm not saying that everybody, right? You know, like manna from heaven is gonna fall and everybody's gonna have tags. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's just the feedback that I've gotten, so, there you go.
So as far as the tagging goes, and I know cost is a concern with that as well, it was discussed last month. There's no set cost for what this should be, you know, and that's, you know, your input, obviously. If we do the first one free, and they're every year, and if the animal's altered, it's one cost, if the animal's not altered, it's another cost. The main purpose is, so my dog has a name tag from Walmart, okay? If my dog gets out of my yard while I'm in Chattanooga at a doctor's appointment, and my dog gets into my neighbor's yard and is digging holes and tearing at their porch and doing this and that and the other, and that neighbor calls animal control. Animal control goes up to their house and sees that dog, sees my dog. They see that name tag and they see that phone number and they call me, but I'm at a doctor's appointment and I don't answer. And they go to my house and I'm not home. They can put the dog in my fence or they can take the dog to the shelter. If they take the dog to the shelter, say my doctor's appointment turned bad and I'm in the hospital, they don't have any other means to contact me because there's no information registration with the county. So that dog sits in the animal shelter for however long they can't reach me. They can send mail, but I'm not home. Every day that that dog is in that animal shelter, it's being provided with food and vaccines, and it's taking up space, and it's taking up tax dollars. If that dog has a tag that is registered with the county, they pick that up. They see my name, my phone number, my address. They see my emergency contacts. They see my mom's name, my mom's registration, my dad's name, my aunt's name, registration. It's all connected. It's kept in software, just like anything else is. So they can take that animal where it needs to go immediately, and it don't cost the taxpayers nothing. All it costs is whatever is decided that the fee is for that tag. That's the purpose of it.
And to add to that, with the fee, because I know that that was brought up last time, is these fees and these sort of things are there. I mean, we pay taxes and we're paying for the situation, but those fees are placed there to kind of help with the operations of.
At the very least, offset the cost of the tag, so that don't cost the taxpayers money.
Right, yeah, so.
So if my dog gets out, but it doesn't get caught, it's a good dog. It goes over and
Smart dog.
it licks the neighbor, but it comes right back and
Then there's
and
no
then
need
no
for
one
that
ever,
dog to
no
be
one ever
picked
calls,
up.
but my dog doesn't have a tag.
It doesn't
Uh,
matter.
If
but-
that dog is
but-
not causing a
And no one,
nuisance, no
you
reason
know,
for it to be.
is the county gonna come out and say, you're a bad dog, you got out? Are they coming looking for my dog?
No, sir, we're not out
Right.
hunting dogs. This is just when we get those calls to go out and do those animal control duties with, we know what we're doing.
It would be nice when these dogs get hit by cars, because just a few weeks ago, there was 8 in 1 week. It would be nice if there was a way to identify those dogs, because what happens, and Mr. Hartline can attest to this, what happens is, you have these rescuers like me that's not gonna leave a dog on the side of the road to die. We're gonna pick it up, we're gonna take it to the vet, we're gonna have a very high bill, and then, you know, you come back wanting your dog, I want you to be responsible, I want you to pay your vet bill.
I can give you the perfect example here and fully understand it. Up and down Sligo Road, there were some Great Pyrenees dogs that loved to wander up and down those hairpin turns. Those Great Pyrenees dogs were livestock guardian dogs. They belonged to people who lived down in the holler, and they worked there. Sometimes they run off property chasing coyotes. They knew not to get hit, they sit at the edge of the road, they went home, caused no problem. When did you get those doodles?
Which ones? There's so many.
The black one, white one down by the spring.
That was about 5 days ago.
About 5 days ago, 2 beautiful dogs were dumped. They had no idea how to stay out of the road. Miss Luck went out to catch them, had a lot of trouble with it because they were terrified because they had been dumped there, and one got hit and killed. Fortunately, she was able to collect the other one and save its life. But this is the whole point of this registration system. It's keeping track of who belongs where. So we're not picking up the ones that are okay, and we can actually help and not just cost money to everybody. I pay taxes in the county. I don't want to pay for unnecessary services either. But I want something to be done to these people that are dumping these dogs off down here and the ones that are causing problems.
We take motorcycles, we take cars, we take trailers, we take all kinds of stuff.
And this
They
is-
can't even move.
This is not something that we've just made up. This is happening for many, many years in different locations that is completely normal. It's not anything that we've created or, you know, it's part of animal control that, you know, that I'm definitely for. It's not, we're not inventing anything that doesn't already exist, so.
So, I'm not gonna pay the county to own a dog. Not doing it. I'm not coming in here and giving y'all a penny more of my money to own a dog. I get your point. The city has ordinances right now, right? Does the city have ordinances about animals? Do you have issues in the city? The ordinances doesn't solve the problem. We need to look for a solution, not a Band-Aid. The solution is the people that's letting their animals do this, they need to be penalized.
Are
They
you
need,
proposing a leash law?
no, I am not.
Well, tell me this.
All right.
I'm being honest with you, Bill. I'm not trying to fuss with you. I'm not trying to fuss with any of you guys. I promise I'm not. But I want to know this. How do we handle, I mean, I'm open for suggestions. When you have a situation, just like we just went through last week.
And where was it at?
That was in the city, but let me tell you what.
Last
we
week?
were
No,
at
last week was
8
in the county, sorry.
in your area up on Sand Mountain. If you just go up there and walk, and go down those roads.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, well, how do we do it?
We are
What do
trying
do
to
with it?
put a Band-Aid on the problem and not finding a solution.
Well-
The thing that y'all did with last night, that was horrible. Or the night before, whenever it was, that was really horrible. But it's, the people is the problem, not the animal.
You got that right, but you know what? The reason y'all know about that one here in the city is because it was right here in the city. You have no idea what goes on here in the county, and I just really wish you would go out here and look and sit down and talk to us and try to educate yourself a little bit about this, because the worst problem in this county is your area, Sand Mountain, your area. 8 hoarding cases we worked in your area last year. No, it didn't make the news, the local news and all this, because we went out and we did it and we handled the expense of it
That's
all.
great.
Not you guys.
That's great.
It cost y'all a dime.
There again, it's not the area, it's not Sand Mountain, it's not Trenton, it's not Looking. It is the people. What is the consequences from them doing what they done?
What would you recommend the consequence be?
I don't feel like
I mean,
Why don't we
It's gotta have enough bite on it so they don't do it again.
well, when we
But
go-
at what point is it hoarding? If I've got 30 dogs in my house and they're all taken care of and fed
That's not
well,
hoarding. The point where it becomes hoarding is when it becomes animal cruelty and neglect. When
all
you've
right,
got so
and
many
is there a
that
state
they're
law
not
for that?
given food and water and
Is
shelter,
there a
adequate
state law
shelter and
against
veterinary
that?
care?
Yes, there
Okay,
is.
and what is the penalties for it?
Okay, but you know what?
Depends on the severity, depends on the judge.
That's my point. It's not gonna stop. We can build a $20 million building to house these animals. But until you fix the problem, it's not going away.
Again, how do you?
I'm not here to argue with you,
I'm not either, but the
so
way
I'm
you fix
done
the
with this
problem-
conversation with y'all. You
The way
are
you fix
right.
the problem is
I did have a high vet bill,
education.
but y'all also wanted me to adopt my dog
No,
back.
I did not want you to do that. That was the rescue in Chattanooga.
So-
I did not. If you remember, I got involved and
All right,
handled
I'm
the
going on with my
situation.
conversation with this. I will not pay a dime. People don't want to pay to own a dog in the county. I do think we need some more from the government. We need some ordinances, but I'm not paying to have a dog. Not doing it. I'm not gonna pass an ordinance that makes the people of the county. I'm not paying, if you pick my dog up and take it to a facility that I've done paid to build and help run, I'm not paying to get my dog back because I'm already paying for the food in the facility. I'm not doing that either. Do we need something? Yes, for this situation that y'all had last night, we need something for that. We don't need a Taj Mahal, and I'm not paying to have an animal. I'm not doing it. Y'all, we're taxed to death already. Everything I own, we're taxed on.
Philip, you know what, we just wish y'all do animal control. If we could just get animal control out of the county, we'd be so thrilled.
I would like to
Because we ain't got it
reiterate,
in years.
I would like to reiterate that the lack of an identification system would increase the taxpayers' payments. I just wanted to reiterate that. However, whatever identification system is used, if there's not one at all, that everyone's paying more to care for the dogs who are unidentified.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just part of helping the bigger situation.
Can it be changed? Could we change, I mean, well, let me back up. It definitely can be changed. These are just words on a page right now. It's not been approved.
I'm good with the animal being identified. I'm not good with them having to pay to have the animal or have a rabies shot or it be approved by the county to own the dog. That's what I'm not good with.
Okay. I don't know that okay.
Yeah.
I would not set those prices because I do not work in the county, so that's up to y'all.
And I think that our mayor even said, like in the city, when we started that, we said we would do it for free, and we just, I never charged anything for it.
Yeah, what is the charge for the city right now?
It's officially,
Huh?
For
I don't even know what the official cost is because every time I've given one, I haven't charged anybody for it.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, we
I don't
could,
know. Ronnie could probably answer that though, since he's been doing it longer than I have.
I wouldn't imagine it would be that much, but,
Well, I don't
Few
want,
bucks.
listen, we don't
I
have
mean, just to
buy over
offset,
a
if
tag.
anything, just to offset the cost of purchasing the tags in the first place.
yeah, it's just like a rabies, I mean, I don't know.
And-
I don't disagree with, taking it out, so,
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't try to do something to help the situation, what is the whole point of this whole deal? You know, like, so,
When you find a neglected or abused animal, how are you gonna know who the owner is if it's not tagged?
you
You
know,
can charge them.
Alternatively, you can use systems like microchipping, which would not come off if the collar is removed.
I don't like the idea of microchipping or requiring, that's too much government control. And then we also have a problem, there was an animal rescue, and my neighbor ran around animal rescue. She continually went around the neighborhood picking up troubled dogs that she thought were homeless. There was one that was tagged, that got trapped on my porch for days. When I went to the home to check on the house, this dog goes to the Canyon Quick Stop all the time. She just picked it up.
I know that dog.
So stop picking up people's dogs.
I don't pick up any dogs. It's a shame that there wasn't an animal control to reach out to at that time, because I know that dog too, and it shouldn't have been trapped.
If it had tags on it, people would have known.
well, we gotta reel this back in to the meeting, so,
Well, I can assure you, we don't want nobody's dogs. Trust me, we don't want them.
The point is to keep them out of the shelter, to keep the homes secure and safe. That's the point.
My last thing, this is what I'll say on it. I just think this is education. We just need to promote, right, to owners, right, that they should have a tag on their dogs, right?
yeah.
Not a requirement, not a fee, but it's the right thing to do. So if your dog does get out there somewhere or gets picked up for whatever reason, folks know who to contact. That's my take on it.
And I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I mean, that's 100
So-
steps ahead of what we got going now.
Well, then, Monda, I just think that this section here, rather than getting the county involved, right? We should just say that the county fully supports, right? That the owners would have identification tags on their animals, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean?
I disagree, though, I'm for this
And,
here.
well, that's what we're here
It could
for.
be free, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't care, we could give it to them for free. But I feel like if you don't try to enforce something, then we're just in the same situation we're in. So, it's like if we're taking out that small little thing, then let's just keep it the way it is. It could be free, I don't care, It's just more, somebody's gonna have to pay for, the county will have to pay for,
Taxpayer.
a few bucks to grab a tag is, you
Okay,
know.
what about a compromise? Why don't we say, I mean, you know, this is all uncharted territory. So why don't we say, okay, let's don't get into a war over the tags. Let's go with what you said, Bob, as far as the tags. Over time, you know, there's gonna be a lot of stuff happening over time. These animals will be picked up, when they're picked up and they go to the shelter, you know, I don't, you know, I disagree with Philip as far as you having to pay to get your dog back, because every shelter in the world makes you pay to get it back. Every shelter in the world.
You have to
not
offset
just-
those costs.
Yes, and so if somebody don't know, you know, right now, the city's been, I mean, you just have to do that. You have to pay to get your dog out of the shelter. And so, if the dog goes to the shelter and it sits there for a while, we'll just deal with those issues when they come up. I mean,
Well, we can't do that, though. We've got to have procedures, we've got to have things in place
I
that
agree with you,
will
Melissa, but I'm just
ensure
saying.
that the operations of the system works.
Well, I
If we
support-
just throw you guys over
And
there
maybe when they come
and
to the shelter,
say,
maybe
try
what
to
we
do your best you can, then
Well,
we're
listen to
not
this.
doing our
Maybe
job.
when they're picked up and go to the shelter, maybe this is what we do. We try to really, you know, put a lot of effort in talking to these homeowners, these pet owners. Maybe they'll let us microchip it for free. Maybe we explain to them the importance of it, and if their dog was microchipped, maybe we, you know, just try to educate them when they come in. And maybe
Yeah, well, the education comes when we have, because I know Georgia, the university, I've talked with them, they'll come in and they'll set up somewhere, maybe here in the parking lot or something, and you do you know, free rabies and yearly shots and get your county tag, you know, like, that's where the education comes from, and those are the opportunities that people will actually come and get those sort of things, because they want, I mean, I know everybody with a dog or a cat or their animals, they want to take care of them, they want them to have the right things that they need, and we do live in the county, and you do have to have rabies, like, there are those animals out there.
There's a
you
lady
know?
from the University of Georgia, Lisa Malo, and she writes SOPs, and she did the model for Cherokee County, and, you know, and I sat through a lecture that she did, and she said, this is what happens when you start, like in our county where we don't really have animal control in a shelter. She said, this is what happens. It'll take you 10 years to get it really under control. And she said, and when you get it under control, this is what's controlled. She said, you'll have a third of the people in your community that you'll never deal with. They're good, responsible pet owners. They do everything right, and you never ever deal with them. You're going to have another third that as time goes by, you work with them, you know, they go through situation after situation after situation. You work with them, then they get educated, and they turn into good, responsible pet owners. She said, and then you have a third, just like with the criminal system, you have a third that's never gonna do the right thing. No matter what you show them, they're gonna always absorb most of your resources, most of your time. But that's when you can say, you've got it under control, because you're always gonna have that, and it's like a drug problem. You never are gonna fix it, you just have to continuously battle it. And so, you know, that's what we're looking at. I wish we could fix it overnight. I do, but that's what she calls under control, and she said it would take us about 10 years.
Yeah, and I agree. It's, if you have a dog that's a problem that goes in somebody's yard all the time and they pick it up and you have to go pay to get it out, you don't want to do that again. You're gonna
No.
either put up a fence or you're gonna figure out how to keep that dog put up, you know? So it's part of
You're gonna get it
handling
fixed, so it's
the
quit wrong.
problem that we do have. I mean, you know, I had to put up a fence all the way around my property so my neighbor's dog wouldn't come and attack my dog, which to me is like, I'm the responsible pet owner. My dog stays in my yard, but I had to fence my property in to make sure that other dogs were not attacking my dog.
But y'all, let's find, I know we differ on a lot of things, but let's find what we can agree on. Let's find what we can agree on, and let's start building on that. Because we definitely have a problem here. We all acknowledge we have a problem. I know that, you know, some of you, most of you, don't care like I do, but that's okay. You don't have to care about animals and love them like I do. You don't have to. That's okay. But let's all accept that we have a terrible problem, and I'm telling you, to see what we saw the other night, and you know what? I'm sitting here right now, and as I said, I mean, I'm sitting here and I know of other cases, I don't know if they're that bad, but they're pretty bad. But what do we do about them? And the reason y'all know about that one is because it got so much publicity. But man, we're doing it all the time that y'all don't even hear about. You know, I sit in those meetings and I told Alex the other night, he was standing there watching all this that was going on, and I said, Alex, when I say, he was like, I can't believe this, I can't believe this. I said, Alex, when I say you have no idea what we're out here doing, this is what I mean. And you know what, he said, I see that now, I see that. And, you know, when I first went on the city commission, why, they didn't even want to hear me say anything about animals or ordinances or anything like that. But it's taken going through situation after situation after situation. And that's the way that people learn. They go through situation. It's just a shame that a lot of animals have been sacrificed over the years to go through these situations, and there'll be a lot more, but I guess that's life. But let's find something we can work on. We've come too close. There's been too much time put in it. And as far as a Taj Mahal, I don't want no Taj Mahal. I do not want a Taj Mahal. I just wish, and I heard that you'd said before I got here, Bob, that we're supposed to do animal control, not this. Yes, just do animal control. All this other stuff, listen, all this other stuff, we're doing.
Animal
And we're
control.
doing animal control now, too.
Since I was there the other night when you called, right? And I went there and I saw it, it was disgusting. If we have the ordinances, because of what I've heard from that situation, well, you know, people knew, hey, when they had 30 and 40 dogs, you know, they weren't taking care of them, it was bad. If we had ordinances and processes and procedures for the law enforcement to be authorized to go in then, it wouldn't have evolved to 200 dogs.
Well said.
Well, right. Well, and the thing about it is, I believe this. I believe that, now I'm pulling this out of my rear end, but 95% of our issue is with animal control, right? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Right? And my thing about it is that, hey, you know, first of all, there's two sides of it. Those people ought to be thrown into some kind of facility, the first being mental health, because they're out there somewhere, right?
You're exactly right.
Right? I mean,
It goes hand in hand.
I totally concur. I'm not arguing at all, right? You ask where should people be? They need to be they need to be imprisoned somewhere, right? Because they're not straight up here. Ain't nobody straight that's gonna have 200 dogs doing what they did inside their facilities, and especially with that child they had over there, right? Totally wrong, right? And so I think, you know, and we're gonna figure this out, trust me. I've given this so much thought, and I'm gonna talk about it tonight when we get to the other meeting, right? You know, I've listened to 1 million people, but somewhere there's a right solution here. There is, somewhere. Because just let me finish, please. We've gotta figure out the bridge, and I mean this is how I'm thinking about it, to figure out how we can help support what the Mondo Wootens, Ann Browns, or Audrey Lux have been doing for a long time, because it is a concern. We just got to figure out how to support those efforts, right, without putting a burden on the taxpayer, but we got to figure out how to build that bridge.
I agree.
And animal control, I think, is 95% of it, right?
And animal control, that starts with these ordinances.
Right. Well, why couldn't we just say, you know, let's do this, and we still haven't come up with all the prices, and we could even do something that it's free the first year that it actually opens, you know, and then if we need to move on from there, see how it goes, you know?
And if the wording is inadequate, it's not a requirement for every single citizen with a pet must get a tag for every single pet. If you keep your pet put up, if your pet stays inside, or your pet stays in a fence, or it has an electric collar, whatever, if your pet is not allowed to free roam, there's no reason for you to get a tag.
And you know what, I'm all about the tag, but I'm just gonna tell you this, if we ever stop to think that if I wanted, and I'm not gonna do it, but if I wanted be mean and go dump a dog, all I'm gonna do is take the tag off of it.
Hey, I told you numerous times, I got this invisible damn sign at the bottom of my driveway that says, if you no longer care for your animals, drop them off at Bob's driveway, because I've had 1,000,000 dogs dropped in my driveway. And not one of them have had a tag on them.
And if our,
And none of them have collars. You can see where they used to be, right? But they don't have them, but people dump dogs all the time.
if our shelter is filled with dogs that were not dumped, that just wandered out looking for a girlfriend, where are we gonna put the ones that are dumped and abused and neglected?
Like the other night, we had to call in all of our neighboring counties. And you know what, every one of them did a whole lot more and took a whole lot more than we did.
Yep. All right.
Because what we depended on in this county was what the rescues could take.
All right.
Well, let's keep going here. Yeah.
How do y'all want to proceed with the, I mean, we don't want to scrap this whole thing. We've got,
Not at all.
Well, I mean, we had a pretty decent ordinance, and then this is just kind of updating that. So we're really going off, other than a few little things, what the old ordinance read. So, I'm completely comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with it right now.
Okay.
This needs to be looked over. It's a first reading.
all right.
Yeah, tonight would be the first reading if we,
All right, so we'll discuss it
What
again.
are you not, you don't like that tag thing, or what are you not
I
comfortable
don't
with?
have a whole lot of problem with the tag thing, but I do about the cost. And, we just got this thing today from Robin, but there's some ordinance, there's some, whatever you wanna call it, in there. There's some of these things where you go through, if the dog gets caught, it's $150 and it's $300. I don't remember the amounts, but it goes on up to $750 and, you know, those kind of things. And I just, we do have some prices in there. There is some money that was in this other thing. I don't know whether it's in here on this thing.
I don't see
No,
any.
the
No,
dollar
it's not
amount, it just says cost. There's no amount in this.
Yeah, well, that wouldn't be in our ordinance, that would be followed in the procedures of the
No,
center.
I'm not gonna pass an ordinance without an amount, because I don't know.
no, the current ordinance, that is the current ordinance. That's
Right.
already on the books.
Yeah,
That's
that's
been on the
already-
books.
yeah.
Now, we could appeal that or amend that, and maybe we need to. But this is this adding to the ordinance. What that part you're talking about is actually already
Already in
been
the
voted on, approved. It's been on the books for years.
Since
But it can be changed because it's an
92,
ordinance.
I think.
Okay, so we gotta read this again next month.
Yep.
Everybody give this a good read and come back, right? And we'll address it again next, is that right now?
Yeah, well, or just, if you'll get with either one of y'all, before the next TDAC meeting.
And I'm in favor of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we both have some things to talk about.
It would be
in
helpful,
our-
so we could start amending it, so that we get something to Robin. I mean, a lot of times we fail to, we'll talk about it here, but then we don't get with Robin to let him know the changes until the day of, so.
yeah, so where we are procedurally is, I mean, we need to, well, we can approve something tonight on the first reading and then bring it back up for final
Right.
approval. And there can be amendments beforehand. Or if you all wanted to not approve it on first reading, you want to take that step before we get there, we can do that. But I would say we presented this last month, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was
I'll
from,
leave that to y'all.
yeah, this is coming from last month, so it was just
It was, but I would suggest that we still have another first reading.
okay.
I'll agree.
I don't want to get in too big a hurry. I mean, I know it takes time to get through this. Let's make any suggested changes to Bob or Melissa.
Okay.
And then, you know,
We'll
y'all
bring it up
talk,
at TDAC.
y'all talk through it, and then you can talk through it in the community and whomever else.
Yeah, and
Then
that's
we
the-
can bring it up at the next TDAC
that's the
meeting, which
point
is
of
gonna be
this, yeah.
a week from Tuesday, whatever that is.
There's not another TDAC until August,
Oh, all right.
so.
Well, anyway,
it
we'll bring
needs
it
to
up at
come to
next
y'all
month's,
first because
we'll
TDAC
bring it up at
doesn't-
next month's meeting.
Can I answer any other questions about this for anyone?
I don't think so. I think we're good for now.
Before I step down, I would like to thank the county for its help with
We're
that
not having
case that we
one
worked on
for
Tuesday
17.
night. Carrie and Dawn both were a big help, the Dade County Sheriff's Office. I just want to say it really meant a lot to
Okay,
have your
that's fine.
support for that.
Well, we appreciate you being there.
Yeah.
so
That's fine.
Thank y'all for what y'all done over there. That was,
Yes,
that was
okay, yep,
bad.
It'll be then. And it'll be here.
yeah, okay,
Seen
got
some
it.
pictures. That's,
Thank
No, I-
you, thank you all.
Thank
that
you.
was horrible.
Appreciate y'all.
What are you saying? We don't have a meeting?
The
Next-
TDAC for July 15th is canceled.
Okay,
It just canceled 5 o'clock. You have an email.
okay.
So the next one will be August, what, is that 5th? At 10, and it'll be here.
Oh, okay.
I had to change that in my notes tonight.
Here.
Okay, so still get those, so
Well, that'll
we'll
give
have
us some time.
so you'll have another, Trenton Dade Animal Center Committee meeting on the 5th. That's a Tuesday at 10 a.m. in this room, if anyone's interested in
And we'll have
attending,
the
And-
first county commission meeting on the
on the
7th.
7th.
So we'll be able to back
So
brief,
you
that'll
can
work.
still get with Bob, make some suggested
Yep.
changes.
And that'll work.
After that TDAC meeting, or Melissa,
Yep.
and after that, we need to get with Robin. It only gives him 2 days, but 2
All right,
days is
so
better
here's
than
the
2
deal.
hours.
We'll have our TDAC meeting, right? We'll come up with some changes to this. We'll walk over to the street right then and tell them, and then we'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
All right, that'll work. We can do that.
Or invite Robin to the meeting.
Well, we actually needed you to be at the meeting, so that'll work out.
You're more than invited, yes. Okay?
Hey, I appreciate it. I can remember coming to these meetings, and I couldn't get anybody to discuss anything. I'm not saying you guys were sitting in those chairs, but I'm just saying, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
Let's don't.
And we're gonna
let some-
continue to come, we just gotta figure out the right
Yeah,
answer.
let's don't let some little ordinance or something like that, let's don't let
All right.
that bog us down.
Right.
Okay, all right. Nuisance ordinance, Commissioner.
All right, number 10,
All right, it don't get any better.
yeah, nuisance ordinance, Commissioner Melissa Bradford.
Okay,
Add this.
so, this is the, Democratic Party and the Republican Party both voted, on this, and this is just the results and the way it was worded. And this
So,
is,
back up on that. So last, November, was it November? Or was it the primary? I can't remember.
I think
Anyway,
the
it was
primary.
last year.
Yeah,
The Democratic Party and the Republican Party both posed a question on each respective ballot, similar. I don't know if they were worded identical,
I
but they were
think
very similar.
pretty close.
Okay.
They're on here, you're
Okay,
welcome to
all right.
read.
And polled Dade County about this subject. Okay, go ahead.
And, I know I struggle as a commissioner with this, I don't know about anybody else, but, in my location, my district, I receive many, many calls. I've received 2 today, with, these situations. I know the sheriff's department struggles. Tommy, actually brought, some ordinance, from other counties, to me, and
here it
we have looked over, these, and this is just, I didn't put it on ours because I really, our assembly, because I really just wanted to bring it tonight. And it's not something that I feel like we're gonna pass, right away, but it's something to look over, the people, it's another thing the people voted for. And I think that, that it's something that, and this is just a portion of what I feel, that I feel could help us out, with talking to a lot of these people. I know in my district, it's huge, so this is kind of, requiring, for like a junk dealer to, come in and have a license to deal that sort of thing. It talks on the last page, I marked it out because it talked about buildings. I'm not opposed to putting it in, but some of it had where, like the building needs to be this, and this, and we really don't even have code enforcement yet. So I felt like that was just too much, but I wanted to put it on here just to read over. It talks about, just junk and, debris and those sort of things in yards. I
So
certainly.
we're talking here about conditions, not necessarily people partying at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No.
I just want to make
But-
sure we
but
understand that, because that's come up here before.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
but that would be part of this, would
Would it?
be,
Okay.
and that's what I mean, this is just something to open up for us to really start thinking about and
Okay.
talking about. And I've got this, I could email it.
I got it. Okay.
These were several different counties that I pulled in and really looked at. Of course, Robin would have to go through and do what he needs to do. But that would go along with, maybe a noise.
Well, we've had people come here and
Nuisance.
talk to the county commission
Oh, yeah.
about that before.
I've had 3 calls
Yeah.
this past week. So it's not anything that I just feel like it's really something we need to dig into and really start looking at. And there could be lots of things taken out. I kind of left as much possible because we could always take out. And so I just wanted to put that across the board to really just kind of start looking at that and talking to the people and seeing what they feel and think. Of course, all this would be put into with code enforcement and then across the magistrate judge, handled that way. I actually spoke with him and he was in agreement with this. So it's just for us to discuss and either add or take away some stuff or,
So you want us to read this before the next time? Is that what you're doing?
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I just get feedback, is this something that we want to go forward with right now? We are talking about putting in another officer for animal control and also helping with code enforcement. And I know that this would help me in a lot of ways as a commissioner.
Okay.
I know, and I certainly don't want to tell anybody what to do with their property, but there's times where it's necessary that people can't do what they need to do, and you've got to step in, just like this situation with the animals. So I just wanted to go ahead and get this ball rolling.
All right, anybody got any comments? All right. Take this and review it.
Yep.
And we'll
Is that what we're gonna do?
add this to next month's agenda.
Okay.
I know one man's junk is another man's treasure, and I can already hear that.
Well,
So,
the city cleaned up that guy that was down here, so.
Right.
Yep.
yeah.
Well, there's still many more that's.
I know, I'm just saying, I just remember that one because they used to drive by it going to the dump all the time.
And don't make that the quote. That's not a headline, no.
Yeah,
Anyway,
and
all
once
right.
you read it, it's not really telling you can't do stuff. It's really just
Yeah.
making things more suitable for, if you do have cars, make sure the stuff is drained, that they're in a certain location of your property. And it's not really telling you can't have, because my son's got 4 trucks in the field right now, so,
Okay.
So I
All right.
understand that.
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
Right, all right. Okay, so we'll bring that back, take a look at that, and thank you, Commissioner Bradford, for proposing that, so. Carolyn Hickson is here with the Board of Elections, and would you make sure that microphone's on? Yeah, okay. I'm not sure how you get it on, or just change it out to that other microphone or something.
Green.
Is it green? Okay.
No, he's your,
I'm trying to stand up.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm sitting about an hour now.
She's ready to stand now.
I'm ready to stand, yes.
Okay.
Glad to see all y'all again. Thank you for entertaining me again. I'm Carolyn Hickson, member of the Board of Elections. Sorry for all you folks, it's not your turn yet. But I'm not gonna take as long. I wanna talk to you about my poll workers. And my poll workers are all senior citizens. We do have a few that are not retired yet. But for the most part, when I approach somebody about coming to work as a poll officer for the Board of Elections, they are retired. They've got some free time, even though they are committed lots of times to their grandkids or various other things, maybe even chasing dogs, I don't really know. But my senior citizens put in a lot of valuable time. They come in for training. We come in here and we keep this room occupied, as y'all well know, many times for our training, for checking equipment, for getting things ready for an election. And it seems like instead of having an election every 2 or 3 years now, we have one every 2 or 3 months. So my poll workers have to show up and take training before every election except for a runoff. And that's what they're going to do between what we did June the 17th and what we're going to do July the 15th is this runoff. So this is the one time that they do not have to take training. But because of the expense to them for getting themselves here for each training session, and we can't set up a training session to accommodate our poll workers. We set up the training session according to the Secretary of State guidelines. We have to do it within a certain amount of time because we can't do some things when we're waiting on information from the Secretary of State. So we can't even begin training sometimes because we don't have certain stuff to work with. We can do the same old routine training, the same old videos that they have to watch for every meeting. But then on the equipment, lots of times there's different information, there's different numbers and different codes, and occasionally a different rule or law. But I work for people who are really good. I look for people who are really good with working with voters. And you deal with the same people that we deal with in the voting arena. So I'm asking for some help and encouraging my poll workers to come in for more training. Like I said, it's at their expense. They come, they take care of their own lunch. They'll meet here or they'll meet in the library or every other area we can commandeer for the day. And on the day of election, they get up at 4 a.m., 4:30. They have to be at their precinct, whether it's New Home or South Dade or North Dade or New Salem. They have to be on premise at 6 a.m. They have to have the poll open at 7 a.m. In Atlanta, they record when the first machine comes on. They're set up with a time counter. So then we know who's there and who's turned the machine on and who's done what. And the voters lots of times are waiting at 7 a.m. So our poll workers work they've already been up now a while. They're going to work from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. They're going to bring their own breakfast. They're going to bring their own lunch. They're going to bring their own drinks. They're going to bring their own supper, unless someone brings them something, which is allowed. But once you become a poll worker and you come into this arena, the Secretary of State does not allow you to leave. There's too much chance for interference, for tampering, whatnot. So you stay here. The food has to be brought to the poll worker. And at 7 o'clock then, when the polls shut down, they continue to stay until all of the paperwork has been filled out. And I brought a notebook and showed you the last time. They probably have easily 100 sheets of stuff to fill out. A lot of it is the same thing over and over, but it's for each machine that's represented in their precinct for that day. So there's a lot of, at that time of day, after 7 o'clock, their mind has grown a little bit numb. A lot of us have already given up and just moved on, but they're still there. They're still working. They also start breaking down machines. They start cleaning up the floor. They police the area. They gather up their dishes. If they've brought crock pots, if they've brought picnic baskets, coolers, or whatever, they load it back up in their car again, and they take it home. And if they're really lucky, they get home at 9 o'clock. Most likely it's going to be 10 or later. And lately it's been being later because whenever they get in here, the paperwork is not filled out correctly. Now, I'm going to say this about Lawana. You don't have to worry about Dade County elections. That girl keeps it right. You're talking about between the guardrails? you don't, there's no, you don't ever have to worry about that. That girl knows what she's doing, and she does it well. So until every paper is filled out, till every number, till every machine has been cleared, till every vote has been recorded, till all that goes, they leave here whenever they leave here. Like I said, some of us go ahead and go home. That's been my method of operation lately. But anyhow, we want to entice our poll workers to stay with us because we've put in an enormous amount of training. The poll workers are comfortable now with the machines. They're good with the crowds. They know the routine. They do it because they want to do it. But we need to offer them a little bit of pay for all of this training that they come in and take and for all the hours that they put in. Now, they make $10 an hour when they're at the precinct. They do a 16-hour day, so their base pay is $160. And they get that, it comes, they do it in the office with other county checks like this. So it works out all right. So they've made $160 for that day. But we want, this is what we're asking, is to be able to pay them a little bit for this training that they have footed the bill for all these years. So all the trips they make in here for the training and the training that they do at home on their own, we'd like to offer them a little bit. And Luana has come up with these numbers. The manager who is responsible, and I kid you not, if we end up with a lawsuit, it is a federal offense. Elections are handled with the strictest, and you totally understand why. So she's come up with this $240 for the manager for all the training time. $200 for each assistant manager. We have 2 assistants for each precinct, 1 manager for each precinct, and $160 for poll workers. But now that's the entire thing. For the training, for manager for poll worker, we're asking for $15 for an hour. We're asking $12 for each assistant, and we're asking $10 for the poll workers that come in and take this training. What the board makes, what I made whenever I came on board, 2006 is $10 an hour. What I make every time I show up is $10 an hour. So nobody is making a lot of money. This is a job that everybody pretty much does because they love it, because they want to do it, because they feel like they're paying back something for the chance to do something for their country. So I have some estimates of what elections are coming up and things like that. But this is what I appreciate you entertaining for me, is us having a little bit of a pool to draw from to pay our trainers, our poll workers for training, so that we can keep them, so that we don't lose them. I lost 4 the last election, and I usually do the recruiting. I'm usually out beating the bushes looking for new poll workers. Oh, I do see some poll workers that might, yeah. So this was kind of a productive meeting. How about that?
I can just tell you from my foxhole, I support that, wholeheartedly. I mean, you come by here and sometimes there's lines for people to vote, other times there's 2 people, right?
Oh, those are
Just
bad
like that
days.
last election, I hate to say it, but the politicians they'll hate me for this, but whatever those positions were, the assistant vice deputy underling in Atlanta, who the blank knows about that? Right? But they had an election for it.
Yes, they did.
Right? You know what I mean? And nobody, I'm a good little boy. I come and vote. I do. But I didn't vote for that because that boy could have been standing in front of me and I wouldn't have known him. I didn't know anything about the people. I could care less. Right? But getting back to you and the good people that work here, right?
Yes, sir.
I think we need to support them, right? And for training and when they come up to work, and I fully support it.
Thank you on behalf of them. They will be very happy to hear this.
Support it too.
I support it too.
I appreciate you very
All
much.
right, well, we will
Yes, sir.
add that to the consent agenda for approval tonight. And I will let you know, the commissioners know, that it has been budgeted. We hoped and anticipated that you might approve it. But so it won't go into effect this runoff election, but thankfully this is quite different. It's just 1 precinct, just in his room, I guess, right? And so this would not go into effect until the fall election cycle. But I want to say thanks to LaWanna Vaughn. LaWanna keeps all the politicians and elected officials and whoever straight on paperwork. She's been doing that for years. And I'm thankful because it's easy to forget. You get busy with your jobs and you forget, but the department of whoever they are in Atlanta don't forget, and they get quite upset. But I appreciate Carolyn. She didn't feel well tonight, but I appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you, Jean, for coming with her. And also thank Linda Breedlove, Phyllis Counts, Tracy Street, and Mickey Scrimshire.
Yes.
They're our board members for the Board of Elections. They don't get any thanks. And we get y'all don't even know, but we get tons of open records requests now just because elections went wrong somewhere else in the world a few years ago. And so all counties have taken a beating over that. And those records requests cost money. They take time and energy. You have to do it by the book, and so it just takes time. But we appreciate y'all greatly. And we want you to hang on there for a little bit longer doing this if you can.
Well, I will just let this be my parting shot. If you know anybody that wants to be a poll worker, my name is Carolyn. I'm in the office next door.
All right. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick recess, and we'll be back about 7:40, all right? And remember to mute your The meeting to order. This is the Dade County Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Again, it's hereby called to order. This time I will ask Brother Pastor Ed Salter to come forward. And let me preface this by saying, I told Ed, I said, I think the workshop tonight will probably go pretty easy. Go ahead and be here at 6:30. So sorry about that, Ed. I owe you lunch. He told me I owed him breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so, yes, sir, I'll make good on that. So he's going to lead our invocation and pledge of, if you'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance here.
I will.
And Ed, give us an introduction on yourself.
What do you want to know?
Just tell us the briefest story we can about you.
Well, Ed Salter, I live at Briarwood. Melissa's my commissioner. I'm a Dade County, and I've been serving for the last 2 years as interim pastor at Trenton Methodist Church. They now have a pastor, so I'll be moving on soon. But I serve as chaplain for Lookout and Mountain, Georgia and Tennessee police departments, and also a chaplain at Thrive Community Center.
Okay.
So thank you for asking me to be here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Let's all stand.
Let's pray. Father, we come tonight to thank you for our history, that which has been accomplished through these years with leaders. And Father, we also ask your blessings upon the present commissioners, that you would guide and direct them, give them wisdom, give them discernment. Father, we pray for our community that it might be safe. We pray for our community, Father, that we might learn to understand the challenges and work together that they might be accomplished properly for the good of the citizens. Father, I'm reminded tonight as we pray that tomorrow is a special day for our country. I ask your blessing upon our president, our Congress, our Supreme Court and judges, and also, Father, for Dade County's officers, for all of the fire and police and those who protect us, for those who protect citizens as well as animals and others. And Father, I ask you to bless now this night, give wisdom and strength and guidance and direction. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Everyone face the flag, hand over heart, pledge. I
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. You may be seated. And thank you, Ed. I appreciate you for coming tonight. This is the regular scheduled meeting of the Dade County Board of Commissioners, which takes place at the same time on the first Thursday of every month. Proper notice of this meeting was given in the legal organ of Dade County and has been posted in the hallway of the administrative building. I'll remind the commissioners, if they could, to make sure your mics are on and unmuted. At this time, I'll call the roll and have it recorded by the clerk. Dr. Pullen?
Present.
Mr. Hartline?
Present.
Mr. Woods?
Present.
Mrs. Bradford?
Here.
And the chair is present. We have a quorum and therefore a legal meeting. This time we'll have citizen participation. We have two people here to speak, and it's been a little while since we've had anybody come, but that's okay. So part of under our new rules where persons wishing to speak must sign up. They have done that, give you the name of the topic of interest, and then number of speakers will be first come, first served basis and limited to 5 minutes each. So I will ask Mr. Steve Buffington to come forward, please.
Good evening, folks. Some of you know me, some of you don't, and it's because I mind my own business. I can't mind my own business anymore. People are infringing on me and my neighbors. I don't know if any of you have ridden down the bluff, going up Sulphur Springs and go towards Mentone and seen all the Airbnbs. That's what Lookout Mountain is fixing to be. I've got them all around me. I don't know if they're licensed, if they pay taxes, what they do. but you can look them up online. Anybody can rent one. They say they're vetted. Well, my wife attempted to rent from both of them. Goes right through. Now, that's not vetting. Just because I have the money doesn't mean it's vetting. What started this? On the 21st, 10 o'clock at night, I started hearing gunshots. Well, I had drinks on the porch for the kids. And one of them asked my wife, "Ma, do they know not to shoot down here?" That upset me. But it turned out it was fireworks. It continued on until nearly 11 o'clock before I texted the owner. And he called me immediately, and had he been in my yard, we would have fought. He was rude. You know, my property taxes went up $12,500 this year. Is it because they're buying up this land and building these little huts and bringing who knows who in? But there are 3 different businesses on my driveway now. And I don't know if how it's, at some point it's going to be overrun. I moved as far away from everybody as I could. And here they are. I know that Lookout Mountain itself has banned them. So I know it's a possibility, but I don't want to tell people what to do with their land. But at the same time, they should have some respect. And it's coming to everybody's house. Everybody here is eventually going to deal with this. You're talking about affordable housing and 200 new houses. You know, there's already 200 new Airbnbs this year. And my daughter and my grandkids, how are they going to afford to live if the prices just keep going up, and no restrictions? Sure, I could go. I've got 10 acres on Lookout. I've got 30 on sand. I can go build 100 of these things. Do you guys have a problem with me doing that? Unless it comes next to your house, no. But they're next to my house. And I'd like to do something about it. Something. The police say nothing you can do. I know my other neighbors are upset, but they wouldn't come down here. Why, I don't know. But they moved here for the quiet. They bought small acreages like mine, and they've got a garage and a house. So my question is, how are we going to address this in the future? Has anybody else had this problem?
Other counties has, yes.
Yes. It's a problem all over.
I would like to see something done. At least don't go up on my property taxes. Make them pay for it. They're the ones making money. They bought land just to make money. That's a business. Is there some way we can report these people and say, hey, they're running a business here? You know, on top of that, we spend money every year on our driveway. It's a collective thing. And they're not paying more than anybody else. They got people in and out every day. They say since it's a right of way, they can put up their signs, they can do all these things. What can I do? I'd like to know.
Okay,
Is there any kind of laws, or are we gonna make any laws?
yeah,
Or are we gonna let it take over?
all right. Well, we'll take that under consideration, and thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
We have go ahead.
The phone to your nuisance thing.
Jill Smith.
That's one I
Oh, is
didn't
Jill here? Yeah, there's Jill. Is it Jill? Sorry, okay.
Hey, folks. My name is Jim Smith, my wife Kay, and I don't need these. We lead the Piney Grove Baptist Church food ministry that we call Feed the Need. We have 2 food distributions each month, one of which is sponsored by the Chattanooga Area Food Bank. And recently I read online that y'all had contributed to the Chattanooga Food Bank, and I wanted to come and thank you in person. And if I could read just this quick letter. County Commissioners, on behalf of Piney Grove Baptist Church, we would like to say thank you for your generosity. As an agency partner of the Chattanooga Area Food Bank, we are pleased to see that the Dade County Board of Commissioners dedicated $6,000 to the Emergency Food and Shelter Program grant to the Chattanooga Food Bank. They are such a wonderful and deserving hunger relief partner to work with addressing the nutritional needs of our Dade County neighbors. And I've got a copy of this for y'all, and I thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for coming to say thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't get that often.
thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's nice.
We appreciate that. That's all the citizen participation we've got tonight, but we appreciate that. Just so everybody knows about that, we did apply, Kathy Reagan, our grant writer, applied for the Emergency Food and Shelter Program and was awarded, several $1,000s. We gave the lion's share of that to the Tri-State Food Pantry, which is atop Sand Mountain in the Methodist Church there. So, we did dedicate some of those funds to the resources to the Chattanooga Food Pantry. And the reason we did, we knew that Piney Grove was a distributor of some of those foods. So appreciate y'all's efforts over there at Piney Grove. Thank you very much. All right. This time I'll call upon each commissioner to make any point of privilege. Commissioner Bill Pullen.
Thank you. You've got my slides up. A lot of things been happening in the north end of the county. A lot of work's been going on. There's been bridge work under the interstate. There's been bridge work on the interstate. There's been paving on I-59. The bridge at Squirreltown Creek in New England, the old bridge is gone. You'll go in the drain down there. The new bridge, the part-time bridge seems kind of narrow. I've not measured it, but be careful. Be careful on these bridges, particularly Hicks Hollow and Lake Hills. And the equipment in there, when they turn the little excavators around, is close to getting out where the road is, where you're driving. It's all improvements. It's just going to take time to get done. And the county paving on Hicks Hollow Road will start in probably 2 weeks. So be mindful of that. And next slide, please. I read a notice about an upcoming meeting. It's going to be held by TDOT. About I-24 expansion from the 2459 split into downtown Chattanooga, and I think that was 10 miles. I'm not sure, but $246 million it's going to be spent. So there are 2 public meetings, Tuesday, July the 8th at Chattanooga Public Library, 5 to 7 p.m., Thursday, July 10th, I don't know whether it's gonna be 3 lanes, I don't know whether elevator lane, I don't know, but if you're interested, it's definitely gonna affect Dade County. You know how it is when you've gone on through Chattanooga. So, be mindful of that. Next slide. Courtney Gross and her associate coroners had their first Coroner's Day of Remembrance in the courthouse. It was a good event. I enjoyed it. For people working through certain emotional parts of their life, I thought it was very good, and it's open to everybody. You don't have to go through the Dade County coroner, but contact Courtney if you're having problems and want to know more about it. But it was a very good event, and had a good turnout for the first one. Next slide. I did not get to attend due to a funeral I needed to go to, but to the employee appreciation luncheon. But I want to say to everybody in Dade County, everybody that works and contributes, thank you very much. Without you, we couldn't do it. Next slide. Stacy Stevens and Don, I guess you could say, co-chaired a contractors meeting. It was for local contractors. I don't know, probably had what, 18 or 20, Don, something like that. It's not anything about new rules, but to make contractors aware of the old rules so they don't get into trouble. It was attended by Dade County Public Works. It was the EPA, the Department of Public Health, and Soil and Water Conservation, and the county will go out and look. If you need a culvert, they'll go out and look for nothing and suggest a size for you, and you can buy these through the county for the culverts if you want to get a private contractor to put them in. But also if you're going to be doing anything over an acre, any kind of grading or anything, there's sedimentation laws you've got to work through. So to keep you from getting in trouble, it's a lot better to ask before you do. Next slide. We had a recent rain in Wildwood, and I know I'm a little more than a mile south of the North Dade Fire Department. I got 2.6 inches of rain in about an hour and 20 minutes. But it caused flooding in the North Dade Fire Station, somewhere 5 or 6 inches on what the county has just redone. I mean, it's new. And it also got the adjacent wedding party venue down there, but it's nothing that the owners have done now on any of the business, but it's been decades of drain work that's been done, and I never remember it in my lifetime, but they say Highway 11 went around behind the current post office, and it's been a hodgepodge of pipes and half pipes and stuff put in, and they're stopped up going over to the east side of Highway 11. So, but GDOT and natural gas and the phone company and the water company and the Public Works Department, it's going to be a while to get straightened out, and it's going to be a big expense, I'm scared, by the time we get all this done. The next slide is the 911 calls, and I don't think there's any surprises there. EMS totals, Memorial and Dade County, 214, and Fire Station 1 and 4 continues to be the main, get most of the calls. Take a second or two there to look over them, but it's kind of all about usual. And but the 911 center had total calls of 2,795. I don't know of any problems going on there. The county has 3 ambulances that are running. One is gonna get a kind of tune-up or something here, but, soon, but, I think other than that, everything's okay, and unless there's any question, that's all I've got to say.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Mr. Hartline.
I'm gonna start with electrical inspections. We was up 7 new constructions in the month of June. We had 6 more new temporary, so we had a total of 10 new constructions that went from temporary to new, and we had 6 new construction temporaries put in for that month, but we had a total of 33 inspections for the month of June. We had 22 the month of May. Go to the sports complex. The football practice has started. They got soccer signups going on. Tank said that the state tournament went well, even though the weather was bad for it. It said they still done good. They've been working on the flower beds at the senior center, and then they've been mowing and weed eating and some other tasks that we've got going on in the county for the month. And that's all I have.
What football is that they were talking about?
It's rec league
Oh,
football.
I gotta check with my coach, Angus, yeah.
So I don't, it may just be one, it might be.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just check with him, because he's had good comms, and Caden signed up on a team, I just want, yeah. Okay,
Mr. Woods.
all right. Can you bring up the senior center charts first, please? There you go. As we all know, the senior center is down at the sports complex. Next chart, please. And they give quality of life, and they give fellowship and nutrition and transportation and shopping trips, and we'll talk about that. But the main thing is that they give many of our senior citizens a good reason to get up every day and a good place to go and fellowship with fellow citizens. Next chart, please. There's one little missing here. 28 people went out to lunch out to Olive Garden. They made weekly shopping trips to Trenton. And again, I mention this every month, but for a lot of these folks, they don't have cars, they don't have their own way to get around, so being able to get out and go places is a great thing to do. And some of them, there you go, they even went to Walmart, and the cool thing about it is they've added three new members there, so that's a great thing. And they have good food, you know, breakfast and lunch, and it's all good food there, and over 1,300 people meals were served during this last month. So I appreciate what the senior center does, and I appreciate the transportation that they provide, because it's a great thing for Dade County. Thank you very much. All right, next chart, please. Let's bring up the TDAC. All right, as we all know, Trenton Dade Animal Center is the focus on that. And we have meetings a few minutes before we started our meeting. The one that was going to be held later on had to get canceled, right? But now the next meeting, and I couldn't update the chart, but it's going to be the 5th of August at 10 o'clock in this room, not down at the City Hall where we've been having them there. The Planning Committee has myself and Commissioner Melissa Bradford here on it, and Monda Wooten and Terry Powell from the city. And of course, the mayor and Don Townsend, our chief executive, there to make sure we stay straight. Next chart, please.
I don't know about that.
Public input. Collective cost and the amount paid by the city and county is still being addressed as we work on the intergovernmental agreement. And we're trying to capture the cost of what it means to run an animal center. Next chart. All right, keep going. I've talked about this before. The county commission is going to be voting on the layout of the facility itself, but we're not quite at that point yet. All right, next one, please. All right, here you go. This came out of a TDAC meeting I went to and wanted to share it with everybody. These are concerns that folks had. No leash laws will be coming. Tagging will not be required, but highly encouraged, and that's where you have the name of the animal, right? The phone number and who owns it, so when those animals, for whatever reason, get picked up, they'll know who to call and know who to contact. Okay? We're working on a low-cost spay-neuter program. No, we don't know what low cost is going to mean yet, right? But we're definitely working on that. That came up in a TDAC meeting a while back. We're going to have a mobile trailer for rabies, vaccines, flea, tick, heartworm, and licensings and all that, and that's going to be coming in the future. Now, the standard operating procedures about when we bring animals in, when we release them out, if and when we have to euthanize them, that means putting them to sleep. They're being discussed, and hopefully we're gonna continue to work on these and figure something out. I'm not promising by the end of July, but we're gonna do our very best, okay? And another question we had is that, yes, the current animal center will be utilized in our future program in some way, shape, or form. Please, what's very important is that, please give feedback to myself or Melissa, all right, on the, county commission, or to Monda, all right, and Terry on the city council, you know, for, any input that you might have.
This one will come to this meeting, because I always want to say something. But I would just like to be sure to add, this spay neuter clinic thing, I want everybody to know, this is not tax dollars that's paid for any of that.
Right.
This is rescues that have come together and bought that and going to do that and operate.
Say that, because they can't hear her.
Okay, yes, I'll repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was just highlighted is that the low-cost spay neuter program has not had any of our tax dollars spent on that. The rescuers that have been doing great things for decades in and around Dade County, right, have come out and done that. They purchased the van, right? They're making it happen on their own. No tax dollars went into this at all. And we appreciate them doing that, no doubt about it. Okay, next chart, please. All right, a couple of things. I asked for input from citizens, and I appreciate everyone that has spoken to me at various locations in Dade County. Whether it's the grocery store or the bank or wherever I am, people say, Bob, you got a minute? And I always do. And I'm going to share some things with you all the way across. Now, I have heard from numerous citizens that they are not in support of the program like we have it, and we're talking now with the large building, et cetera, et cetera. However, they want a significantly reduced program. However, on the other side of it, they are all in favor of animal control, right? They want to make sure we have their ordinances, right? The number of police officers that need to do it, right? And they're in favor of animal control. They come in all the time. A lot of folks are not in favor of a integrated program. They think that the city should have one and the county should have one. They see concerns of folks within Trenton being much different than those who are out in the county, and we're working on that as we go through. I just want everybody to know that we're well aware that there's differences, you know, because I live out in the county down in Razzafon, right? You know, and we have good folks on the committee that live in the city, and we understand the differences. We do. There's no doubt about that. Now, citizens do understand that this has been voted on before. However, there's concerns about how much the operations of this center will be after the initial SPLOST money is used to get the initial building outside of it established. Now, where acquiring data, right, from other places on how much daily operations would be in an animal center, right, and we're trying to capture that and go down that road. I put a couple on here. I've heard Money Pit, I've heard Dog Hotel, I've heard this, I've heard that. That's, citizens are just, they have these thoughts in their minds, so they're very much concerned about their tax dollars going to this program, right? And no one's in favor of that, so we'll have to figure out what to do about this. And the good thing about it is that the TDAC committee knows that this is not an overnight solution. We're gonna have to figure this out. We're gonna have to discuss it for a while, right? And we're making steps. We're making steps in the right directions. And so I think that's a very good thing, right? But, well, we're gonna have to figure out what the right bridge is, because we have to figure out how to have better control in Dade County. We also have to figure out, honestly, how do we best support the great efforts that our rescuers have been doing for decades. It is a concern we have here in Dade County, right? But we have to figure out how to support them. And we had to figure out how to support them without it being a burden to the taxpayer. Now, that's easy. It's easy to say, but we have to figure out what that means, and that's why I'm here talking about it tonight. A couple of personal thoughts. I'm in favor of the low-cost spay-neuter program that was mentioned earlier, right? That the rescuers are putting together. I think that's a great thing. I think that would be very instrumental towards animal control. I support updated rules to make the individual animal owner responsible, not the taxpayers, and we were talking about that a little bit tonight in our earlier meeting. There are discussions about having to keep animals in the facility for quite a while. I don't support this in any way, shape, or form. We'll figure this out over time. I was at a TDAC meeting a couple of meetings ago, and my heart almost, when a lady that runs the center in another county was there, and she was saying, well, we have to keep them for at least 2 weeks, and my heart just, I could not believe it, right? You know, so this will be something that, for my own foxhole here, right, we've got to figure out if we have to keep animals, have to keep them for a reduced period of time, right? I really don't want to keep them for 2 weeks or something like that. And the last thing I just want to say along these lines is, come to the county commission TDAC meetings to express your concerns, or contact your county commissioners, Melissa and I, or your city commissioners, Terry and Monda, right, to express your opinions. The thing about it is, this is a concern. This is an interest that we're doing. The first phase of this collectively, though, is animal control, and we're making good steps towards that. We've already started making good steps towards that. We were addressing some ordinances earlier tonight, and we'll continue to go down that road. Then the next thing we have to figure out then is the size of the program that we're gonna have with a building, right? How large should it be? What should it be doing? What it should not be doing, et cetera, et cetera. That's all gonna be discussed. So, y'all, I've asked for your opinions, and you've given a lot to me. I wanted to share some of those here today. But the deal about this is, we have to figure out a solution that works, and we have to figure out how it not to be a burden on the taxpayer, but it's the right thing to do, and we're starting to do that with animal control. That's all I have for tonight now.
Okay.
All right, well, just to add to that, the last meeting, we've been meeting for some time, and it kind of takes a little bit of time to get everybody on the same page and talk about different things that are going on. And this last meeting, we kind of broke it down to, we're working on the city-county agreement. Then, we're in the process of getting quotes for the building. We have to, this next meeting or soon, we've got to get the lawyers involved so we could figure out exactly how we could use the splosh dollars to get the shell of the building. And I feel like we're talking a lot about all these different areas, but it's important, and it's very important to stay focused on the things that come first. And what will come first are these ordinance, putting the right people into the positions, and then we'll also start getting into the procedures of the way the building will operate, and that goes along with some of what Bob has said, that, how long the animals will stay. We're not inventing anything. We're taking looks at other counties, and to me, that's the best way to get the best of both worlds, is try to fit what works for us, but not invent anything that's already been in place for a long time. And I just want to stress that we are deeply invested in making sure that it's the right thing for the county. And we, as a commission total, Bob and I are involved a little bit more, but our whole heart is in making sure that we're doing the right thing for the people. So just with that, you know, let's definitely reach out to us, reach out to the website. You know, there's lots of ways to get in contact with us. We want to hear it, you know, whether it's good, bad, whatever it is, we need to hear it to make sure that we're doing the right thing for everybody. So that's my spill on that. And then a positive note is we had a great tire amnesty this year. Everything went very smoothly. The weather was almost perfect. We received 2,226 tires, which is less than we've been getting, but to me that's saying that we're getting things cleaned up. It was interesting to see because, you know, over the years I've done this, you see kind of the same people. This year I felt like it was a whole nother branch of people, a lot of new people that I haven't seen in years before, so that was interesting, but it was a great day, and I appreciate everybody that worked, that spent the day there with us. I appreciate I know that there wasn't many flags picked up, donated in, but I think the more word that we get out or something like that.
So next year it'll be more?
Yeah. So I think it was a good thing. You know, the more you do it, the more people know. So I appreciated that, and I just want to thank everybody for their involvement and all their help for that. And then I just want to touch on, I know I keep talking about this glass recycling, but we really are we're kind of in a holding pattern. They're still building the program to be able to get that done, and Dawn and I will probably be meeting with them hopefully soon to finalize everything. And once that's done, I'll make sure to get it out how to do that and how it's going to be run. So,
Okay.
And that's all I got.
All right, thank you very much. It's been a rather busy month, and it's already been a busy July. Hard to believe, it's actually July. I met with West Brow Fire Department, some folks there from West Brow Fire Department that came and was proposing a ladder truck, listened to their concerns, kind of explain the process of SPLOST, and that we have a chief's board, and the chief's board, you know, those things go through that board first. And so anyway, it was a good meeting. Answered a few questions. Then over on the other side there at the top, you see, went out to near New England, looking at a tile installation with Billy. Billy does this all over the county. So again, like Dr. Pullen said, if you ever need a tile, driveway tile, if it's on county right of way, we want to come out and inspect it just to make sure it gets the right size tile put in. And if you know of a tile that's failing somewhere that we haven't caught, please let us know, and we'll come out and check that out. Pictures at the bottom was at the Alabama Welcome Center in celebration of Tourism Week, and Rex Blevins invited us down for that. He used to serve down at the Welcome Center at Alabama, so we went down there. Next screen is the Employee Appreciation Day. We did have a good turnout. I appreciate all of our employees, of course, fine folks, and work hard every day, and got them a taco and a t-shirt. So anyway, I was happy to do that. A lot of participation, and they were excited about that. And again, we appreciate all the commissioners, appreciate all that the employees do for Dade County, in all departments and agencies and offices. It's already been mentioned, but Courtney Gross, we had the Coroner's Day of Remembrance, and that was a really great day. Appreciate everybody that supported that. And that'll be the first Saturday of every June, so go ahead and mark your calendars for next year. The next one is the Eat and Greet, at the Historic Courthouse. Alliance for Dade sponsors one of these about once a month or so. So if you're not on that newsletter, if you'll visit the old courthouse sometime, they'll put you on a newsletter mailing list and or email list, and you can be involved in that. They usually have a great speaker. Ribbon cutting at Gammy's Playroom down here where, I still say where the old Street Hardware was, and at the end of Gross Furniture. She's open now for business, so we had a ribbon cutting for them. Contractors meeting went well. We've already heard some about that. Soil erosion and sedimentation control has been on our books since 2010. It's been a law on the state books many, many years and decades. But our goal there was just to provide guidance to local contractors, answer questions, and review permit requirements under state laws. Those are all state laws, and the model ordinance that we adopted is part of that state law. And because we are here to help, not hurt. We don't want to be evasive. We don't want to get in people's business. But we also know that the state has certain requirements, the state laws that our contractors have to abide by. So we want to help them not get in their way. And as what's called the LIA, we're the local issuing authority. The importance of having a local issuing authority is so if EPD shows up at your doorstep and we don't have an LIA, they can do whatever they want to you pretty much. They can fine you and tell you how to do it and what to do it and on their timeline. But with an LIA, a local issuing authority, at least we can go out and help assist the local citizen and try to intervene and be a buffer between the contractor and the state and the citizens. So again, we're not trying to get anybody's business. We're just trying to help. Tire Amnesty Day, as already stated, a great day. It was a cooler day than we had. Thankful for that. We did have 7 flags retired that day. And just so you know, if you have an old flag that needs to be retired, there's a receptacle right out here next to the tax commissioner's office. That's a place that you can place that flag. And then the American Legion has a ceremony at least once a year.
Yeah, once a year.
To retire those flags, usually in conjunction with the Boy Scout troop. And it's a really beautiful ceremony. Next slide is the Northwest Georgia Outdoor Recreation Summit. A few of us attended that summit this year from Dade County. And it helped us identify assets in our community. And you think, well, what kind of assets do you have for outdoor recreation? We have fishing, we have Civil War heritage, Cherokee Indian relics, and all kinds of things with Cherokee Indians, bicycling, hiking, canoe, kayaking, dog parks in general, sports. We have all kinds of stuff. So just be aware that we had a good time, but it was a very productive meeting. Talked to us about leveraging the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, recreational trails and grant programs, and just talked about a host of grants, the RTP, recreational trail program. We already have been awarded a $1 million grant from the Land Water Conservation Fund for the property on the side of the mountain over here. The GDOT TE grants, which is Transportation Enhancement. And they go on and on and on. It's late, we won't go through all those. But learned quite a bit. As already stated, bridge work is continuing throughout the county, mostly on the north end. So again, as Commissioner Pullen stated, slow down a little bit. I think the speed limit right now is 45 through there. So try to slow down a little bit. That bridge is a little bit more narrow than the bridge they're replacing. And then on the interstates, I noticed they've let up on that construction for the holiday period, but I have a feeling next week they'll get back at it down the road a little bit on the other side, the southbound lanes. So be careful out there. We had, the next slide is just some information about Cherokee Regional Library. They had Noah's Little Ark Petting Zoo out here, and then the next slide, we have some beautification happening is before, out the Veterans Park, getting some flowers planted, and thank goodness it's been rainy, so they've been being watered there. Election news, just remember, due to the historic low voter turnout, not only in the state, but also in Dade County, there will be a special Democratic runoff election scheduled for Tuesday, July 15th. There will only be one precinct. They got permission because they fell below 1%, on less than 1% of Dade County Democrats voted in this precinct, in the runoff election, or the election, I should say. Then they only have the one precinct here. They will have one special week of early voting. I think it commences next Monday through Friday, July 11th. Polls every day will be open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. here in this room in the administrative building. And then election day will be Tuesday, July 15th. Polls will be open at 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now that is only the Democratic primary. If you voted Republican, don't come. It's only the Democrats on that one. And then the special call meeting for consideration of approval. We did approve that. Our budget was a $15,820,000 budget. And the big thing this year that happened was, unfortunately, health insurance went up. It's not only hit our county, but it hit the school board quadruple bad this year. So attended last Thursday the 2025 ACCG County Legislative Forum. It's a legislative roundtable with legislators, really good. Had a lot of hot topics dealing EMS, 911 funding, school zone safety. Talked about school zone cameras. There's more laws to come next year on that. If you don't like the school zone cameras over here, they're talking about new legislation about that. Of course, elections came up, and then of course House Bill 581, House Bill 92, opting in or opting out changes on the floating homestead exemption came up. So hopefully they're done changing on that. I hope. That concludes the report. I would like to say one more thing. Tomorrow is 4th of July, so it's a special day in Dade County, because tomorrow marks the 80th year anniversary of when Dade County came back into the state from the state of Dade. So you go over to the courthouse tomorrow, the historic courthouse, and they'll give you a pamphlet about that. It's a really nice little pamphlet about the story that's, of birth of a county. And from 1837 up, and then where we seceded from the Union, and then we came back into the Union, and all that. So anyway, if you get a chance, stop by the old courthouse tomorrow on the 4th of July, the 80th anniversary of that event. And also at Jenkins Park, a big day scheduled probably from, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning all the way till 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow night, with fireworks to conclude that event. So a couple years ago, we had 10,000 people show up. So hopefully you can come out and support that. All right. Wow. Now, under appearances tonight, we have Lydia Sosis. Lydia's been patiently waiting for 2.5 hours. So come on up, Lydia, with the Dade County Library.
Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Lydia Susi, and I'm the manager of the Dade County Library. On our first slide is our stats from May 21st through June 18th. Our door count was 2,158. Our computer use was 222. Our study room use was 116. Our time with teachers was up to 30. And then our circulation was 4,112.
What do you mean by that?
Those are items that we are circulating out to our...
Like when I check out books?
Yes,
okay,
yes. And that also counts renewals and our digital checkouts as well through Libby and our Palace project.
Got it, thank you.
And then for the free lunch program that we took part of in June, we gave out 380 lunches at the library. Next slide, please. Okay, it looks like it skipped one slide, so I do want to, it's blank? Okay, I apologize for that. It was about our summer reading program. Even though it's blank, I do want to thank our local businesses for supporting our summer reading program this year. We received donations from State Farm, Matt Mayfield, Chattanooga Industrial Motors, Bank of Dade, Southeast Lineman Training Center, the Trenton's Optimist Club, and then Mark and Lisa Cagle, Steve Forrester, and the Light in the Mountains. Without their donations, our programs for our summer reading would not have been possible. And so a big thank you to them. Every Saturday, we still have our DDP yoga that takes place at 12 p.m. This is a wonderful program for anybody who struggles with mobility. It helps to keep you mobile and strengthens and improves your overall health. And Bob Rislin is wonderful. He keeps the atmosphere up, and they're always laughing, and it sounds like they're having a lot of fun. And I'm just sitting at the counter wishing I could join in with them. Next slide, please. In July, our Ag Venture with Laura Beth Cunningham will be on Tuesday, July 8th at 2 p.m. This month's featured book will be I Love Strawberries by Shana Anderson, and it will be followed with a fun craft afterwards. And then our Pokemon League is still taking place through July. It'll be on Thursdays, July 10th and 24th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. We do supply cards, and we have a volunteer on hand who will teach you how to play the game if you're new. So don't feel like you can miss out. We have everything on hand, and children who don't have their own cards are sent home with a starter deck as well. Okay, and then this month's book club will be meeting on July 15th at 7 p.m. I do want to apologize. Last month's slide had the same book. I had the months confused. So this month it is the book Exit West, and they meet every third Thursday at 7. Or third Tuesday, I apologize. And then this month, for one of our summer reading programs, we are doing an escape room. This is new at our library. It has already filled today. We did fill our last spot, but we are taking names and numbers in case there are any cancellations, and we're hoping that it's a lot of fun and a blast. I will say there's one puzzle that I still can't solve, and it's going to bother me. I'm going to have to solve it. So maybe you can beat me, come join the escape room and see if you can solve the puzzle. And then one of our featured items that we have at our library that kind of goes unnoticed. It's hidden in a corner, so a lot of people walk by and they're always surprised when we tell them about it. We have a recording studio at our library with sound equipment and instruments as well. We have guitars, a piano, and electric or drum sets, and recording equipment where you can put together a fun podcast. For example, we do have a local podcast group, Life with Rojo. They are family friendly, and they have been utilizing our recording studio for the past few months. They've kickstarted their podcast, and it has begun to grow in popularity. So we have this space available for our community, where if you want to start your own podcast, you want to blog. One of our local authors, Brandy Gann, she has been recording an audiobook for one of her published stories here at the library as well. So we do have this space available. And then we have kickstarted our Tutor Bird program. So it is our Time with Teacher program, which is funded through the Frank M. Pierce Foundation. And this offers free tutoring for our Dade and County Walker students. And this program is to target those who are at risk of failing or scored below the proficient on milestones exams. The tutors are certified and retired teachers, and this is free for our patrons. The tutors are paid through this program. We have a whole new software and booking system that you can find on our website at chrl.org. We have created a walkthrough video. It can be a little confusing through our new system, so definitely take the time to watch that, but we will always be happy to help you up at the front desk as well. We also have 5 new tutors who have joined in, so we're hoping that the booking has opened up further to allow more students access to this program. And we've also changed it from an hour to 30 minutes. We discovered that a lot of children, their attention span kind of maxes out at that 15, 20-minute range, especially for the littles. That hour was a bit too long. It was too much for them. So we've shortened it to 30 minutes, and this will also open up more available times to get as many students in as we can. And then, as always, you can visit our website, chrl.org, or Facebook or Instagram to see what we have new, up and coming, and that is taking place at our library.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
I have one question.
Yes.
On your door count, is that 2,158, does it count going in and out?
It's coming in. At this
Just going in?
At this moment, we did have an electric door counter that would go in and out, but that's been broken, so we've been hand counting, clicking at the front desk, and the number is not accurate. There are times where we miss people, so there may be more that we've had than what is currently reflected.
That's good to know. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we have an online presentation by Mrs. Laura Beth Cunningham for the 4-H agent, UGA Extension, Dade County, and also an online presentation available by Mrs. Sandy White, President CEO of Alliance for Dade, which is our Chamber of Commerce. So feel free to take a look at those as you may. We'll now ask Mrs. Rebecca Jones, CFO, to provide the county financial report. The financial report is presented by Mrs. Jones.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second? All right, I'll have a motion and a second. I will now poll each commissioner to have their vote recorded. Dr. Pullen?
Yes.
Mr. Hartline?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mrs. Bradford?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The motion is passed by unanimous vote. Legal matters, Mr. Robin Rogers, our county attorney.
Nothing to report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, nothing to report. Is there any unfinished business to discuss or vote on? Hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Under new business, a reading of the minutes of the last month's regular meeting, and any special call meetings will not be required since all commissioners have been furnished copies in advance. The meetings are public record and available for review in the county commission office. The minutes are included in the consent agenda and will be considered for approval under new business. I will now ask the county clerk to read aloud the items for consideration on the consent agenda, please.
Approval of the agenda, approval of the previous meeting minutes, review personal status report, the resolution R-27-25, reappointment of Rex Blevins to the Trenton-Dade County Historic Preservation Commission. Under SPLOST, purchase vehicles for the Dade County Sheriff's Office, 3 2025 Ford Explorers with equipment for a total of $258,790.83 with Prater Ford. Resolution R-2825, resolution to pursue affordable housing development through GIC program, and Board of Elections poll worker pay.
Okay. All right, so just to clarify, on 11, Board of Elections poll worker pay, we will have a resolution to adopt, so it'll be Resolution R-29-25. Hearing, okay, is there any discussion regarding the items listed on the consent agenda as presented by the clerk? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented by Mrs. Knight.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Okay, do I have a second? All right, got a motion, and a second. Move to approve consent, okay, I have a motion, and a second. I now poll the commissioners, have their vote recorded. Dr. Pullen?
Yes.
Mr. Hartline?
Yes.
Mr. Woods?
Yes.
Mrs. Bradford?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Normally, we go right on to adjournment, but unfortunately, we have to go into executive session. We have some litigation that needs to be discussed with our county attorney. I know y'all are excited to hear that tonight. So I need a motion to enter into executive session.
Make a motion, do you?
And do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Bradford. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. If you will, remove your microphone, and we shall exit to executive session. Back into regular session.
I'll make a motion.
Second, please.
I'll second.
CB, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, that was at 9:24. Any other business? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we adjourn. Bob. Bill.
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 The other B.
One of the Bs.